Good afternoon, Vallejo. This is Deborah Dickson with Our Voices, and we are into the holiday season, and isn't it a wonderful, wonderful blessing? Every year at this time, I love to have a guest that has some musical talent, and today we are absolutely delighted to have Mr. Michael Nelson, Gospel Extraordinaire. And Michael, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me, Deborah.
Oh, we're absolutely delighted to have you. I was just recently turned on to your music. I hear that you've been around for a while. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I am a native Vallejoan, born and raised in Country Club Crest.
All right.
And so I am also a preacher's kid. So my father ministered at the Church of Christ right there outside of Country Club Crest,
yes,
there on Griffin Drive. And so I literally went from Kaiser Hospital to church. Ava McGrew, who McGrew Street is named after her and her husband, yes, brought me home from the hospital, and I went to church. And so I started singing at a very young age. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know, but the Church of Christ is a denomination that has no musical instruments. Mm-hmm. So because they had no musical instruments, it actually allowed me to foster my vocal ability. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I learned harmonies at a very, very young age. So started singing very young. Later on in years, I joined an a cappella group. And this group actually was blessed to do some wonderful things. At that time, the biggest gospel group there was the Winans.
Yes,
yes. And we opened for the Winans at the old Circle Star Theater.
Oh, God, that was one of my favorite places. I love that place.
Yeah, it was a beautiful theater with this circular stage that rotated.
I love that theater.
And so and in the dressing room after that show, we found out that the following week we would be appearing on the Arsenio Hall show. Oh. So we were able to do things like that, and we opened for BB and CC Winans and commissioned, which featured Fred Hammond and Marvin Sapp. And,
yes, yes.
And so we were able to do a lot of things, you know, and at that time, I didn't even realize the magnitude of the people that we were.
I'm listening at these names that you're throwing around. You know, you're just saying them so casually. Oh, we opened for.
Well, I didn't know who they were.
Exactly.
I didn't know who they were. And, you know, and they turned out to be, you know, huge gospel stars. And so.
Is that what really captured your light, or was it just the love of singing and being able to use your voice as an instrument? My mother-in-law was Church of God in Christ, and they are a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Because they have a lot of instruments in that. So that's very interesting to me. And so this training that you had did in order to really stretch your voice out, it was because of the lack of instruments at your church that you grew up in, or?
You know, that definitely had a lot to do with it. The other thing is that, you know, I learned from my sister. I have a sister, and we were all musically inclined. Uh-huh. And so at one point, my parents, who really didn't know what to do with me, they just knew I had this talent, decided to sign me up for piano lessons. Uh-huh. So my sister and I took piano lessons, and she was older than I, and she was in an advanced level. And I would come home, and I would take the little songs that they gave me, and I would put them together and create other songs. Uh-huh. And so my sister would say, "Show me," and I'd try to show her, and she couldn't do it. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I used to get angry with her, and she and she yelled at me. She goes, "Well, everybody's not like you."
Yeah, yeah.
And years later, I remembered that, and I remembered her saying that, and it kind of struck a chord, and I realized that it was a gift.
Absolutely.
And you know, I just had always assumed that everybody could do what I could do.
Right,
and,
right.
So you know, the other thing is that I always have loved to sing. But more than that, I've always loved singing for God.
That is just such a blessing. And this is the holiday season. This is the time. And I'm just so delighted to make your acquaintance. You tell me that I knew you grew up with my son. So, but I just, your sister and I, Linda and I, went to school. And Albert, we went to school together. So I'm just delighted to remake your acquaintance and know all these wonderful things about you. This is the current CD that you have out now. Let's talk a little bit about that. Michael Nelson and Nikeo?
Nikeo.
Nikeo. Now tell me what that means.
So Nikeo is a Greek word. In the book of John, chapter 16, verse 33, the Bible says, in this world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And the word that the Lord used there for overcome is the Greek word nikeo.
Okay.
So its meaning is to overcome or to prevail or conquer.
And so in each one of these different tracks on here, I see there's about 10 different tracks on here. Did you write most of the material? Was it?
I wrote or arranged, I believe, 7 out of the 10 of these songs. And God just really blessed me. This was my first full gospel CD, and it was produced by a wonderful man from Vallejo named Von King.
Oh, okay.
And Von and I got together, and he decided he wanted to do this project on me. He just approached me one day at church and said, "Hey, I want to do this project on you." And so we got together, and this CD features The Emotions. It features Felton Pilot from Confunction.
Oh, yes.
It features the late Grady Wilkins, who was the musical director for The Whispers, as well as Ron Moton, who's the saxophone player for Confunction. I'm just unbelievable.
You know, Vallejo just produced so many musical legends. When I think about Confunction, and well, matter of fact, Felton Pilot and Michael, the whole Confunction group, Carl Fuller, they were here as my first guest December 2 years ago.
Wow.
My very first musical guest.
Wow. And then one of the songs is actually co-written by Danny Thomas, who was the original keyboard player.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen Danny at a number of different occasions around town. So I just think it's just, we have a special flavor on that side of town.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have E40 came out from that area, right? You know, and when you were at that age and you were doing this opening for all these opening acts, we were talking a little bit about that. And you said you didn't really realize the magnitude of that. It was because you were so in tune to your music, to being able to get your music out, or?
Well, I just didn't have a clue. And you know, when you get a little older, and now I look back and I see that it was the mighty hand of God just orchestrating some things, you know, because it prepared me for where I am now, and I believe where I'm going. You know, I honestly didn't know who those people were. You know, we did a show.
That could be a blessing.
We did a show for commission. I opened for commissioned at the Calvin Simmons Theater in Oakland.
Yes.
And I was late.
Oh.
I'll never forget it. I was late.
Yeah.
And they had sang the first song without me, and then I sashayed out.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And then I left early. I didn't even know who these people were.
Right.
We're talking about Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp, right? You know, and so you know, I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
out of there.
Went on about my business. You know,
right.
You know, it's I look back now and it's such a blessing. And then to open for the Winans was like, oh my God, you know. Subsequent to that, I went on to do some other things. I was at church one day. I was still with the Church of Christ at the time. And a man I knew had been knowing for some years sashayed in, and he owns a karate school in Fairfield. His name is Larry White. And Larry comes in and goes, hey, I have this job. I'm the bodyguard for Ollie Woodson, the former lead singer of The Temptations. And Ollie had some pretty big hits like Treat Her Like a Lady.
Yeah.
And he goes, and Ollie has a group, and he has an opening in his group, and I think I can get you in. And so he comes to church, and he videotapes me. And within a couple of weeks, I was in LA rehearsing with Ollie Woodson in his garage at his home.
Wow.
And so I spent a year touring with Ali. I went to China with Ali, and he passed away a few years back as well. Aww. But again, God orchestrating some things and putting me in around some people who were very professional, and grooming me and preparing me for this.
Yes.
And I had no idea.
And this is your first CD,
full-length gospel CD.
Full-length gospel CD.
Prior to this, I had released an a cappella CD. It was 4 songs, all songs that I had written. And actually, one of them is the last song on this CD that I re-recorded. It's called Bless This Marriage. And I wanted to, it's funny because I wasn't married. I wasn't even in a relationship. And God gave me this song called Bless This Marriage. And so I've been blessed to perform that song at a lot of weddings across the Bay Area. for people getting married.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
So
sounds
if you're getting
so
married,
yes, you're gonna need
bless this marriage.
It's absolutely,
Okay?
absolutely. No, I'm talking about renewing my vows after 50 years. Too.
Bless
Yes,
this marriage.
bless this marriage.
All
Oh,
right.
absolutely, that's fabulous. And then I understand that coming up that you're going to be in a gospel holiday concert. This is a program from A Soulful Christmas.
Yeah.
The Lorraine Hansberry Theater. Wow, that is really big stuff, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, featuring Michael Nelson down here, the Lorraine Hansberry Theater Choir. Talk a little bit about that, how this came about.
I have a friend who I had done a previous theatrical production with. He was the musical director, and he called me and he goes, listen, you need to be a part of this production. And he goes, I'm going to be the musical director for this production, and you need to be a part of this. And he goes, you need to be out here and exposed to some of these people on this side of the bay. And so it was a long time ago, and I said, okay. And one of the things I've learned to do over the years is keep my word.
Yes.
So I said okay. I ended up going, why did I say
okay?
Right?
That's right. I got something else planned.
But I showed up, and I'll tell you that this is an awesome, awesome, awesome production.
I can't wait to see it.
This thing is, I'm in a show with, I believe it's 15 other singers, and every one of them are out of this world. Every single singer in that show can sing their heads off.
Yes.
It is unbelievable. And it's in a small theater in
Which is
the Fort Mason Center.
Makes it a little bit more intimate here.
Yeah,
let's see when this is coming up. Oh, December the 4th
It just started.
through the 24th.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, South Side Theater in the Fort Mason Center in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Wow. This is just fabulous. Well, I'm just absolutely bowled over by you. Number one, knowing that I actually have a connection with you. You know, when we talked, I was like, I wonder how come your name sounded familiar, but I wasn't quite sure. Right. So as we got the opportunity to meet and make one another's acquaintance, I find out that we really are. Grew up right in the same neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Your older brother and sister are my classmates. And you know, you were my son's classmate, so there were a lot of connections. That's the wonderful thing that I love about Vallejo.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about that, that whole camaraderie thing of growing up in the Crest, and once you know someone and they know you, you know somebody in their family, and
you know, it's funny because you mentioned that because. You know, that's all I knew for a long time was that family community. I grew up on a street with the Banks and the Quins and the Reasons, and you know, and everybody knew each other, and everybody's mama was your mama.
That's right.
And everybody's mama could spank your behind.
That's right.
You know, and it was beautiful. You know, and we could play outside until the street lights went out, and you could leave your bikes on the lawn, and they'd be there the next day. You know, and it was beautiful. And you know, and I've moved some other places in California, and there is no place like the Bay Area, number one.
Yes.
And now you can't find, you'd be hard pressed to find a community atmosphere like the one we grew up in.
I think so.
You know?
I really think so. And I think that our children have missed out so much on that type of support. And, you know, you just see the people around you, the families that surrounded you. And as you said, everyone could just, you know, light you up. I mean, and your parents would go, oh, did she say something? No. They didn't say anything.
My second mother is Miss Eloise Quinn.
Oh, the most beautiful lady in the world. I love Miss Quinn.
My best friend in the whole world was her son Samuel, who recently passed away.
Yes.
And we were born, Sam and I were born 7 days apart, one house down from each other. So we were best friends. I tell people, you know, usually you remember meeting people. Yeah. I don't remember meeting Sam. He's just always
been a part of your life.
A part of my life. And so Miss Quinn, you know, I spent a good deal of time at their home.
Sure.
You know, and vice versa, and you know, it's a blessing, and she's still there.
Yes, she's
still there, and she's holding it down.
Yes,
you know, and she teases me. I go by to see her, and she bends over and touches her toes. And says, you can't even do that, Michael.
Right. There is nobody like Miss Quinn.
Nobody like Miss Quinn. That's right.
Oh, she's just such a special lady. Yeah. Well, those were just some wonderful times, and when I was talking with Michael Cooper and Carl Fuller, we talked about that. My guest last year was John Turk. I I don't know, he's the musical director
I know John
of Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco. And he's been a dear friend of my husband and I for 40 plus years. His brother Richard used to sing with John's other group that he had. But we were talking about that early times and coming up. And, you know, of course, John is from Vallejo too. And just knowing the families and the people, it was a special time. It really was a special time. And I'm grateful for it. I'm glad that my sons had a part of it. I won't think that my grandchildren have, but at least I know that my sons did, because, you know, we were right here in this town, and you know, you guys grew up together, and you know, it was the same thing. You played at North Vallejo Little League Park, and you know, we'd watch Joel knock balls out of East Vallejo Park, and people be astounded at that. Do you remember that? Oh my God, people would go, oh my gosh. So yeah, it has just really been a blessing to be here. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate you taking this time out and coming and sitting here and talking. And I'm going to really look forward to seeing you in this Soulful Christmas, a gospel holiday concert. It's going to be coming on, and it's going to be at the Lorraine Hansberry Theater. It began December the 4th. That was my dad's birthday. December the 3rd. December the 4th through the 24th. And so your connections stand you well in stead. All you do is just put yourself in a spot, and God will open up a door for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing. And I really can take no credit for all the wonderful things that have happened in my life. You know, it's pretty obvious to me that the hand of God has been on my life. And, so I'm really grateful, and it keeps me humble because I realize it's not even me. I sing at my church, Revival Center Ministries, and when I'm done, you know, somebody always wants to come and say, "Oh, you sang so good." And I say, "Girl, that wasn't me. That was Jesus. I can't even sing.
Right. I can't even sing. He's just using me as a vessel."
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That's right.
That's such a wonderful attitude to have. And, you know, as we wind into the holiday seasons, you know, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to share this music, to share this time with you, to be able to know that each and every one of us play a special part in each other's lives. And you never know when you're there to touch someone. I was out shopping yesterday, and I ran into an old friend, and we briefly stopped to chat for a minute. And a lady, as she was walking by, she heard one word. She heard Hawaii, and she said, "Oh, I'm from Hawaii." And then she turned around and she started, we chopped it up out there in that parking lot like we were best friends. I mean, you know, it just is wonderful to be able to communicate with people and have the opportunity to share life stories and life's triumphs and everything. And as an older classmate of your sister and brother, I'm just here to tell you, I'm just absolutely bowled over, and I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I think it's fabulous.
Having me here today. I really do.
Well, this was a blessing for me, and anybody that knows about our voices in this show knows that I love to uplift and talk about the positive aspects in our community, the African American community especially, and here in Vallejo. We get bad news. You won't get bad news here on this show. All you will get is the good news of our voices. This is Deborah Dickson. And I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoy your holidays. I'm certainly going to enjoy mine. And I wish you and your family the most prosperous, peaceful, and happy holiday season as we continue to make our way throughout this year. Thank you all for being with me. Thank you, Michael Nelson, for sharing this time with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you all. And now let's continue to talk.
Brought me up and you dust me off.